My favorite herb, if I was going to change my name, I'd change it to garlic. Okay. Garlic is probably my favorite herb. It's one of the herbs I asked Anisha to do another master's thesis on. She's sleeping, but pay no attention to that. She always sleeps through my lectures. I have a handout in here on garlic. It is kind of yellow in color. It's about 10 pages in. And this handout, I've probably researched garlic more than any other herbalist I know. And this handout has really a compiling of a lot of that research. Everything in I didn't bother to document this because if I did, I'd need about 100 pages to do one page, just a documentation. But if any of you would like it, I have all the references at home. And I state that at the bottom. But this just goes on to tell you a little bit about garlic and what an incredibly powerful, potent, magical healing plant it is. How are our taste buds? Isn't that nice tasting, though? That's a tincture of the bark and resin from cherry. And it's, you know, cherry, of course, is a great tonic for our lungs and for coughs and colds and things like that. It's an expectorant. And of course, it tastes like cherry, doesn't it? And this is really what, you know, nowadays we, of course, don't use that in our cherry-flavored cough drops and cough tonics. It's just in there as some kind of sugar artificial flavoring. But this is originally what people used in those tonics. I just wanted to taste that a little bit. I don't think anybody needs to taste garlic. Now that Anisha's here, we'll be having more and more garlic. I noticed she's been cutting up some and putting it in the olive oil out there, so we're going to have a good dose of garlic. Okay, garlic. As far back as unrecorded history, garlic's been used. You see it in every culture, Greek culture, Egyptian, Roman. Everybody used quite a lot of garlic. From the Spartan warriors of Greece to the Egyptians, fed it to the slaves that built the pyramids. Every culture associated garlic with strength and health. And it's amazing that it's really not looked at that way anymore. In my handout, I talk about Hippocrates. Maybe he used garlic specifically for treating cancer and tumors. That was the main reason he used garlic. In World War I and II, the British government used garlic on battle wounds in the trench wars of World War I. It worked better than any antibiotic they had. It worked better than sulfur drugs. They even used it in World War II. It was used on battle wounds. It was used to treat dysentery. It was used to treat typhoid fever successfully. Garlic is one of the leading over-the-counter drugs in the world, except for in the United States. In Germany, I believe right now it's the #1 selling over-the-counter drug. Garlic preparations are sold in pharmacies all over the world. Almost, the United States is starting to have a few, but we don't see too many. One of the first things that garlic's really famous for is its healing ability with heart disease. And it does numerous things that will help you if you have heart disease. It'll lower your cholesterol level. It'll give you more HDLs, high-density lipoproteins that remove the cholesterol from the body. Garlic will lower your blood pressure. And it's an incredible healer for heart disease. About 2/3 of the research into garlic have been about garlic and heart disease. About 1/3 of the research has been garlic and cancer. Numerous research projects in the United States. I cannot believe to this day that the American Medical Association has not adapted their programs to include garlic for degenerative disease with all the studies and tests that have been done. It's an effective cancer therapy. Medical research labs in colleges all over the United States have proved that. But they just seem to prove it and then shelve it. They do not use the garlic. The National Cancer Institute reported that the cancer incidence worldwide is lowest where the garlic consumption is the highest. And there are a few isolated spots in the world where there's never been an incidence of cancer at all, and these happen to be the people that have the highest per person intake of garlic. Garlic helps our immunity. It breaks down tumors. It's been used with people who have cancer, and the people who have used garlic have had a 10 times reduction in colon, rectal, and stomach cancer over the groups that didn't use garlic. It's an absolute healer for cancer. So just keep that in mind. It has almost 75, I've even read 80 different sulfur compounds in it. So it's a strong sulfur plant. One of those compounds is an acid, it's sulfuric acid, and that's why garlic burns. It'll burn right through your skin if you tape it on your skin. So we got to be careful how we use it. It's probably the most powerful antibiotic on this planet. It not only kills gram-positive, but it also kills gram-negative bacteria, which means it's a broad-spectrum antibiotic. Garlic juice diluted 1 part in 125,000 still inhibits the growth of most bacteria. That's a powerful plant. In fact, in many studies, they chopped garlic and sent the fumes from one building to the next, and just the odor of garlic alone killed bacteria and virus. So think about that. A lot of people thought it was just when you ate garlic, your friends wouldn't come close enough to you to catch a cold. Okay? But it's really not that. It's the odor alone will destroy virus and bacteria. What? Yes, very important. Your body will develop immunity against any other antibiotic. This is why people who take massive doses of antibiotics have to take new ones, and after a while antibiotics won't work with them anymore. And your body does not develop a resistance or immunity to garlic. This is a very important factor. Thank you, Anisha. And so this means that you can keep using garlic and it'll still continue to be effective year after year after year. In Russia, I've talked to a medical doctor, scientist from the Pavlov Institute, one of the biggest research institutes in the Soviet Union, and they've done tons and tons of research on garlic. It's so widely used over there, they call it Russian penicillin. And they use garlic as their major antibiotic. What's wonderful is that, what do we know what's bad about antibiotics?
They're not selective.
Yeah, they're not selective. Okay, so they destroy our good bacteria, and then we develop all types of problems from yeast infections to constipation. Garlic is absolutely selective. It will only destroy bacteria that is harmful to you, and at the same time, garlic will increase your intestinal flora. Isn't that amazing? How could we ask for a better tool? Think about that.
What is the form of garlic that's being used here?
That's always being used fresh raw. Okay? And so I know we always try to get away from fresh raw garlic, but it seems as though that's the powerful one. In a synthesis of these reports, I have seen garlic being responsible for destroying streptococcus, strep infections, staphylococcus, staph infections, typhoid, diphtheria, cholera, bacterial dysentery, traveler's dysentery, tuberculosis, tetanus, rheumatic bacteria, and many others. Powerful antibacterial agent. I was just down in Central America. We went as far as you could go in a truck, and when that wouldn't go any farther, we got a motorcycle and went, and when that stopped, we walked to the end of a peninsula there. We were way away from civilization. And I saw things I never saw before, trees with thorns on them this long. It seemed like everything wanted to bite me, even the plants down there. Spiders, scorpions, it was wonderful. Monkeys screaming at me. I even found this beautiful fruit, and I ate it, and it tasted sweet for about 10 minutes, and then my whole mouth went on fire, and my throat closed. It was great, great experience. One of the... Yeah, unforgettable. But anyway, why was I talking about that? Oh, cholera. There was a cholera epidemic when we were down there, and it broke out in the whole part we were. And I'm sitting, you know, and you get a little nervous when everybody's getting cholera and you're not. And so we just kept eating our garlic. And this has worked for me every time. And we left that area. We must have stayed there a week. We left that area and went to the other side of the island to kind of relax on the Caribbean side. And we got there, cholera epidemic. Widespread. And we just kept eating our garlic. And the bottom line is, I believe I did get cholera. When I came home, I had dysentery for about 3 hours. Okay, so I believe I did get infected with cholera at one point down there. But I'll tell you, garlic destroys cholera. Garlic destroys almost every type of bacterial infection. And when we go to foreign countries, most of the time we're going to get infected is through the water. Cholera included, you get sick of through the water. Bacterial dysentery through the water. So I would suggest 2 things when traveling to remote parts of the world, and that's take a water filter and take your garlic. Anisha did an extensive trip of India where she really went native with all Indian people and traveled to many areas and never got sick once. She took her garlic. She's one of the biggest garlic eaters I know. Just had her cholesterol level tested a couple weeks ago. It was 103. Okay? They told her to go out and have a cheeseburger. They really did. They said, your cholesterol level's way too low. You got to get it up. Go have a cheeseburger. So we know that garlic has the ability to lower the cholesterol, and she consumes more garlic than anybody I've ever met. And I think she can owe that to her cholesterol level and being a vegetarian and the fact that she goes everywhere and doesn't get sick because she uses lots and lots and lots of garlic. Garlic is also a very strong antiviral agent, destroys viruses on contact, whether it's just the general common cold. Yes, garlic is the cure for the common cold and upper respiratory infections. Garlic will destroy all influenzas, especially like measles, mumps, mononucleosis, chickenpox, herpes simplex 1 and 2, herpes zoster, viral hepatitis, scarlet fever, rabies, and others. What's a big virus we're all a little bit paranoid about nowadays? AIDS. Yeah, I don't see why garlic would be any different at destroying the HIV virus. Oh boy, really? And garlic's antifungal ability is really second to none. In every double-blind study I've seen done, it's beat out nystatin, which is the #1 antifungal drug every time.
That's what they give AIDS patients.
Exactly. So when you think about a fungus, candida overgrowth in your body, athlete's foot, ringworm, any type of fungal infection, garlic should come to mind too. As you can tell, garlic's one of my absolute favorite herbs. I think that we're just scratching the surface with it. Most people's complaint is that it smells so strong. In all the research I've done, the active principle of garlic, allicin, is bound with the odor and cannot be separated. And I believe that all odorless garlic doesn't work. Or if it works, it's very, very little. And I know that there are formulas on the market that say that they're deodorized and they still work. I don't believe it. And I also believe that why does garlic have an odor? Is this an accident of nature? Or is this the way it's intended to be for us? We've decided that that odor is antisocial. But that odor is an important... What's that? Absolutely not. And it has been thrown out of some Indian cultures, some Buddhist cultures, because people found it hard to meditate when they were smelling people's garlic. There's nothing wrong with the garlic. A lot of religious groups don't like garlic because they feel that it stimulates your sexual energy. I'm sure that it does, okay? Because it makes you healthy. And a healthy person should have a strong sexual drive. One of our basic primal functions on this planet is really to reproduce. I mean, we can think about that in a lot of different ways and talk about it socially and religiously in any way we want. But basically, we are a reproduction unit. And the job of all plants and animals and species on this planet is to reproduce. And so the healthier you get, the more you're going to want to reproduce. This is just health. So I believe that garlic, which would create super health, would stimulate people to want to reproduce more. So some religious organizations don't use it. Even the Hare Krishna organization doesn't use garlic. And we're having them prepare some of their food for us up here. But they don't use garlic because they feel that it stimulates them sexually. So we just get the Hare Krishna food and add garlic to it.
Or take garlic and add a little Hare Krishna food to it.
That's right. Some people are that way.
In order to get a lot of garlic down, do you see any problem with just chopping it up and swallowing the pieces whole?
I have a lot of my clients do that. I think for the digestive tract, especially the colon, one of the best ways is just swallow it like a pill. You know, you can take whole little cloves or chop up big cloves, knock it back, drink a little liquid, that's fine.
What about the use of garlic oil?
I love garlic oil. And our problem, yeah, that's the biggest problem around our house is it usually gets eaten before it gets to any patients. But yeah, we always have a jar of garlic oil going at the house. And Anisha started one out here. There was one started when we came, actually, and she just added to it. And now you'll see in the kitchen a jar, a quart filled with olive oil with about this much garlic in it, all the way to the top. And let's have that for dinner. Okay, let's start.
So we all smell.
That's right. Let's start moving into the garlic, because if we all eat it, no one will mind. But if you become the only non-garlic eater in here, you'll want to leave. Yes?
In working out the herb shop with people on the phones, I talked to one lady who wouldn't leave her house anymore because of the garlic she was taking. She was looking for an odorless garlic.
Yeah.
Because she was taking garlic, and she said she's not, don't leave the house.
Yeah.
She has friends or family go to the grocery store for her, and things like that. And because she has to take the garlic,
Yeah.
I can't remember what her animal was, but she was told that's the only thing that's going to help her. She became
Yeah.
completely reclusive.
I think when you get well, you become okay, because Anisha, although she does smell of garlic now and then, I would suggest that she consumes 30, 40 cloves a week. Would that be? At least 5 a day of cloves of garlic. And although I do smell it on her occasionally, it isn't like she reeks of garlic.
Come through your skin. I was talking to somebody about this before. It's like you smell it on your breath, but after you've taken it for years, after a while you've taken it and you've been taking it for years, it doesn't come through your skin.
Yeah.
Like it seems to. Yeah. As I ate bread.
And so I think at first,
Something to do with fats. Maybe it's because garlic, cuts through fat and cholesterol. Maybe
Absolutely.
When it's done that, you don't smell it anymore.
because I notice with people at first sometimes get a real garlic purge out of their body, but after a while don't. And I think what I suggest my patients do is have some peppermint oil, what we just had first thing this morning. Do you think you're going to smell garlic on someone's breath after one drop of that peppermint oil I passed around? It isn't going to happen. Okay, so just carry peppermint oil with you. Dr. Christopher used to keep cloves in his pocket and put a clove in his mouth and suck it on it. Nothing will get through the smell of a clove. And it smells nice. Do you know what I mean? So this is a way that we can cover up the garlic a little bit if we have a problem where we work or whatever. Yes?
What do you think of the odorless garlic?
Yeah, I don't think it works. I've used Kyolic in my practice, and I don't think it works at all, or if it does a little bit. There are some new ones that seem to work a little better, but I'm not a fan of them at all. I think, from my research, garlic has to have its odor. It's the important part.
Plus, there are different percentages of the garlic in those products. They're not all the same.
Yeah,
And it's why probably the fresh is better.
exactly.
But I've read a lot about how...
Well,
natural-
to add to that, would the comfrey leaf off the plant in the backyard be better for us to use now, or some freeze-dried comfrey extract? I mean, the comfrey leaf, nature, yes. keep going.
The healing parts of the garlic, the
Yeah.
allicin,
Allicin.
is released when it's macerated, or there are
Sure.
different kinds of the healing parts that are released when it's cut.
Absolutely.
Macerated. So how would that affect if you swallowed a whole clove?
Yeah.
Would
It's
you'd still get the
Yeah, because your digestive juices start eating away at it, and that does break up the cellular structure. But that's not the most potent way to use it. I'm just saying that you can use it that way, and sometimes I prefer to use it that way for working in the colon, so it doesn't get all digested before it gets down there. Use some fresh and swallow some whole. But I use a lot of, in our clinic, we use garlic implants rectally and vaginally. Also, you can start out by putting the clove in whole and peeled, and if the person tolerates that, okay, you can bruise it by hand, and if the person tolerates that, okay, you can make nicks in it. And I have used them rectally myself, and on all my clients, and Anisha's used them many times vaginally. So if any of you women would like to ask her about that, I'm sure she can share with you any secrets that you might need to know. But basically, she just cuts it a bit and inserts it, and you leave it in all night long. And garlic destroys all types of bacteria, fungus, viral activity, anything, vaginally, rectally, anywhere you put it in the body, and it's safe to use that way. So I just wanted to mention that. If you sliced it fresh, yes, it can. In other words, but if you just bruise it a little bit or nick it a little bit, sure, you can tolerate it. But garlic's great for burning. I use it to burn tumors and warts and all sorts of things, slicing it and applying it straight on the skin. If you have something on your skin you don't want anymore, just slice a clove of garlic in half, lay it on there, tape it on, and do that for 3 days.
My mom did that. She had a black mark on her face from being burned when she was a kid. It kept
Yeah.
growing. She cut it up in little tiny pieces and taped it to her face, and it got like a lizard. Her skin,
Yeah.
and it peeled off.
Yeah, it'll burn it right off. It's our natural healing surgery tool. Yes.
Like the vaginal insert, does that work well for yeast infection?
Absolutely, absolutely for yeast infection. And of course, the underlying cause, you know, when we look at candida overgrowth or yeast infection, that's a sign that our immunity isn't working. Okay? So we're talking about a topical treatment for it, but unless you correct the underlying causes of your weakened immune system, or stop taking your antibiotics, or whatever reason it is you have the yeast infection, it will come back. But garlic, yes, will destroy it. If you've seen